Hey guys, TC here from the Christian Gaming Channel, bringing you a brand new episode of Minetest. I know, it's been forever since I've done a Minetest episode of any kind. I'm going to be honest, when I last did the survival series, I got burnt out and I think the world got corrupted anyways, so... fresh beginnings. I do have a reason for coming back to this game though. I felt kind of led by the Lord to start this year by going back and doing some more Minetest videos. I felt like that I have more opportunity to just take things at my own pace and, just talk more to you guys instead of just focusing on, like, oh, this action, this action, this action, this action, or explain game mechanics. It's more of a friendly chat, if you will. And that leads to more opportunities to talk about, biblical stuff as well. Anyways, I have that out of the way. The next thing is this map. If you're wondering what this map is, there's a bit of history behind this. It was initially started out as just something small I think it was initially meant to make sets for Blender, which kind of works, but not too terribly well. I might put some of those renders up just as an example on screen right about now. As you can see, some of these renders are pretty decent, but all the sets, if you will, were taken within this world via a 3D model exporter program. But this world eventually turned into something I wanted to share with you guys. Unfortunately, I never got to the point where I felt confident enough to release it because perfection is the enemy of completion, as far as projects go anyways. So I never got to the point of releasing it. So it took some more time. I kept working on it, and I felt led to do this. So here we are today. This map is based, well, I don't know if I should say that. This map and the stories that I'm working on, and for context, just go look at the Christmas story I put into the YouTube community tab. That's just a small sample of what I'm trying to work on. I initially started working on rough drafts of stories involving the channel characters plus extra story specific characters. Because I wanted to make some stuff that can exist outside of this channel that might be able to reach a broader audience, not necessarily for personal glory or money. I don't want any of that. I just want to freely share, stories with Christian morals and values with people. I mean, that's all I want to do. I 100% want to give them away for free if I can. Just so people can have something that they can enjoy. But, yeah, this map and those stories kind of grew with each other over time. This map, effectively as I see it nowadays anyways, is more or less a diorama of what the story world looks like. So it's not 100% one-to-one. As you can clearly see, there's animals instead of, what Pixel and Vixel are. So, I suppose that we can get on to a tour, because that's what this first episode's going to be. Just walk around town and any adjacent areas. So, the first place that we're at right now in the middle of this forest is the Sweeptail's home, aka Pixel and Vixel's house, because their last name is Sweeptail. And for reference, Sweep is actually the name of a fox's tail, so it's kind of a neat reference, although technically I mean telltale. Either way. So yeah, this is their home. We have a very open plan here on the first floor. We have a nice television, which does function. Also have functioning lights too, so that's kind of nice. We have a nice kitchen right here with a supposedly orange fridge, although it kind of looks pink to me. I don't know what was up with the item description for that, so yeah. Also have a nice table and a basement with kind of a steep drop. It's not a bad basement, I mean it's very clean. It's where we have the laundry machine, some nice cabinets, and another sink for whatever you would need to do with a sink in a basement. I don't know. I've never lived in a home with a basement. We also have this little storage area, and then under here, where you see more stairs, we have a little, if I can get through the door, we have a nice outdoor area that leads to this stairway, which leads up to the back porch. That way the Sweeptails can just make their way down to this wild beach right here, filled with seagrass of some kind, I don't know. It's not a bad beach. It's never going to get developed, so bit of a nice secluded area, if you will. And over there is a gigantic mountain that has a chunk not rendering properly. Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you zoom in, it forces chunks to render for some reason. I'm not going to complain because it makes the distance look a lot nicer. Also, dolphin. I have my game muted so I can't hear them. That is so nice. Although I probably should at least turn the volume on for you guys, so that way you can actually hear something. Dolphin, I put my volume back on. You had better not make your squeaking noises again. Okay, the sun is setting and the owls are out. Now I guess I could talk about this. No, I already did that. I've kind of lost track of what I was going over. Let's close these doors. We'll just make our way through here. Well, I guess since the sun's setting, we can go through the rest of the house. Oh, I remember something I could go over. Some backstory, I guess, for this town. The name of the town is Christian's Cove, although this house is kind of outside the city limits, as far as I'm concerned. So, there's that. So this is just more of a unincorporated area, if you will. Nice attic up here, by the way. It's pretty well lit, and you can see some stuff from here, including some stuff that we'll look at later. But yeah, the town is called Christian's Cove, and obviously this is the Sweeptails' home, like I've mentioned in the past. And if we go over here, this is going to be a 2-residence area. So we have this home right here for the Sweeptails, and my character will have a home over here. Story-wise, the technically 3 characters live in this little area in the woods that ends in a cul-de-sac. And I'm not going to develop this area any further purely because it's kind of a nice little wooded area, and it also ties in well with the stories. So we're not going to bother doing it because the forest is mentioned a few times, I think, in the first story. But anyways, if we go down this road now, there's a lot to go through, so this is going to take a little bit. Is this recording the right thing? I hope so. Oh, I hope that was recording the right thing. For some reason, OBS thought I was trying to record Super Mario 3D Land. I can definitely say I do not look like Mario. Yeah, if you go this way, there's nothing but beach and ocean. So we're not pushing this road any further either. I don't think a road to nowhere is exactly a great thing. And outside of a nice Crash Bandicoot reference, I see no point in doing it. But yeah, we have a nice bridge here too. This bridge was recently developed. I think it's the second most recent bridge. with how many gigantic rivers this world has, you have to be okay with making a ton of bridges. But this one's pretty well supported. I mean, obviously it's Minetest, so you have floating blocks. That's just the nature of voxel sandbox games. But at least it looks relatively nice. If not a little haphazard, but I think it fits. This is a not so populated area outside of the town, so it's probably not going to be as well maintained. I mean, you can even see that in the fact that we have old-fashioned lanterns for lights here. Yeah, if I go back to the old Minetest, though, I think the main thing that pushed me away from doing that outside of the world getting corrupted was just, it was too much of a grind. Having to dig deep to find all the materials and resources, it was just so draining. I'm hoping with this creative series, since I literally have everything at my disposal, I can be a lot more active. I want to try and at least like maybe 1 or 2 videos a month, so that way I don't burn myself out trying to do it weekly. Because I also have to manage the Mario series, the Sonic series, the observation mode. I'm wanting to get back into Mario Kart 8 Wii U Online again. The servers are unusually active, and there will be a video coming out on that soon. I'm just currently in a bit of a spot with recording that right now, purely because I can't have my microphone in a good spot. So the audio's not as good as it should be, and to be quite frankly honest, it's been a long time since I've commentated over Mario Kart. So I'm a bit rusty at it. Also, this road, as you can see, has gotten much more nicer looking. We have nice grass lights, which make a clinking sound because obviously it's glass. Relatively speaking, once you hit this point right here, this is where the city ends. Town ends. It's not a city, it's a town. And this is where the unincorporated area just goes on from there. It makes relatively decent sense. So we have these much more fancy lights. If we continue down here, we have more road, which ends right there. You would not believe the amount of hours I have spent just laying down road. Granted, I have building tools on hand, like World Edit and stuff, but even then, it takes a while to do that, because making these patterns, you have to do that by hand. We have a nice open area right here for some kind of project in the future. What that project is, I have yet to figure that out. But we're just going to head back up this road and go on to one of the older bridges that got refitted at some point in time. Yeah, a lot of this is kind of hazy for me because I've been working on this map for probably over more than a year. So not everything I've done I can clearly remember. But at least we have some guardrails. It's a bit more of a safer bridge compared to the old one. Do I have the sprint on? No, I don't. You can see it's a nice enclosed bridge. We have some nice, more vintage looking lights. The dolphin is screaming his head off again. And, excuse me, horse. We have a kind of cave right there that you can see. Yeah, it's a pretty good bridge. And if I pull up the mini map right here, you can see this actually goes underneath a hill, which you can kind of see from here. And those we'll talk about in just a moment. Yeah, it's a pretty nice bridge. We have some overhead lights. That's not a bridge, it's a tunnel that leads into a bridge. I forgot how obnoxious those dolphins were. Okay, so we have a train station here too, which is right here. Train station 1. We have some ticket booths. We have a nice bench with a trash can. I think I could almost fit in that if it didn't have a solid hitbox. And we also have the Whistle Stop Diner with some nice paintings. It's a relatively small diner, but I don't think people would expect much since it's just meant for passengers, I suppose. And we also have a kitchen, too. Filled to the brim with pots and sinks and all the good stuff. Also, a mint green fridge. Why not? And another trash can with a coffee maker. Assuming the employees here have to work 24/7, they'll probably need the coffee maker. And the restrooms. We have the women's restroom over there and the men's restroom. Men's restroom is just a little bit longer because of size constraints. Literally on the other side of this wall is the tunnel road. So, yeah, it's kind of size constrained a lot. Because over on this side, we have the wall for the trains. And the just emptiness of the air out there, so yeah, there's a lot of constraints going on for this stuff. Anyhow, before we go over there, we should go through here. Where's the gate? We have a nice little waiting station for the train passengers. That way they can head out somewhere. Not that way because they'll end up in the river. Like I said, there's a ton of bridges. It is quite incredible how many bridges there are in this map. And where's the gate? I know it's here somewhere. There it is. These gate pieces blend in so much. But yeah, we have another rail line, and you can see a train down there that is not currently being used. Alright, if we head up here, we can see a speaker for announcing train departures. Or arrivals. And this is kind of an overhead area that goes over the tracks. And we have also a nice little glass area right here that you can just see above from underground. And if we head down this way, we're back at the ticket booth section again. And that's relatively all that you can see here. We'll worry about the rest of the train tracks later. This is going to be quite the long episode. I hope people are going to be willing to watch it. Let's see, we have a horse. That's not the important thing. You can see the hill right here that was bored straight through. Thank the Lord for World Edit because that would have taken forever. And we have basically what I would call a main street. And yeah, we are technically in more of the central area of Christian's Cove. And the sun's setting again. Okay, now if we go over here, we have a small shop area with more shops to come. As you can see, the land's been leveled out for it already. First off, we have Luigi's Italian Restaurant. A fairly central location in the stories. It's a very small eatery, but we have some space to move around. And to be fair, Luigi does not have a lot of space to work, so you make do with what you got, I suppose. But yeah. We also have Tom's Electronics Shop. He is currently the mayor of this city. Plenty of electronics. Even video game cartridges, CDs, stereo systems, the whole nine. It's a very cramped shop, but it does the job. If we head up here, we have the art and paint supply shop. I don't know who exactly runs it, but at least I have quite a good selection of things and different paintings. We head down this way and go down through this little alley. We can find Vicky's Pressed History. Vicky's a relatively prominent figure in the town. And this is her very small newspaper shop. Literally prints everything off of just one printing machine. Plus all of her historical research books and whatnot. Yeah, I think that's the shop area more or less covered. Let's see, I think the next closest building should be the next one we should visit. It doesn't matter if it's nighttime around this area, it's very well lit up. Here we have the Foxtrot County building. Basically, this building is meant for town council meetings, county council meetings, as well as being the home office for the mayor. So this is where Tom works. I mean, it's a fairly small, I don't know, maybe it's not a small office, I don't know. Also, county records, permission required for access. Well, I have permission. It's just a small area with tons of historical books and other, you know, legal archives and the like, and plenty of file cabinets full of stuff. We head up top. This is the area where the meetings are held, and also where the electoral debates are held for the next mayor. You have plenty of room for people to sit in and ask the people questions. I would not want to be in here because, let's be honest, people get very, very loud. Also, the mailbox for this place. We have a nice little park area here too. Just has some nice flowers, a nice park bench, which I can't sit on, sadly. And also, yeah, there's the sign for that place. I really like the way that the signs are done with this one mod. It shows the metal brackets holding it to a fence. I just think that's a nice attention to detail. We have some homes here too, for no one in particular. They're just homes. Also, I have a nice park here too. It's got a small bridge, and this actually might be the first bridge that was ever built. Again, there's just a lot of water in this place. But you just got some nice park benches and the like. I keep saying nice a lot, but I don't have any other real descriptors to use at the moment. But we have also a bicycle, which can be ridden. As goofy as it looks, especially since it covers up my goggles. Now, how do I get off this thing? Shift? There we go. We also have a nice twin tail lemonade stand. Lemonade's good. I think a two-tailed fox runs that one. We also have another building. This one is relatively built. A nice little reading area. A very well put together kitchen with working curtains. Also have a nice television area to sit and watch stuff, and a laundry room. Yeah, this sounds fairly built up, but it gets empty on the second floor. Again, making all these buildings for the quote-unquote diorama is quite difficult to do. Trying to make them all look different. I mean, I know some of these are copy-pastes, but you can't help that to a point. Also, this is actually the first building that was put up in this map. You can tell that it's the first building because it's been heavily experimented on with different styles, and also is incredibly cramped. But at least we have rooftop access, which is kind of nice. Just look over at the town and see more of the railway down there. The railway just ends out in the woods at the moment. Again, it's more or less for show at this current point in time. There would have to be a lot of heavily invested hours in order to fully accomplish a proper rail network. I don't know why I had to think on that one. We head further down this way. We have a police station, which is actually fairly well furnished. As you can see right here, Christian's Cove Police Station. And we have a little waiting area, a place where you talk to whatever the person's called that actually runs the greeting office. And we have this area back here. So this would be the evidence room, filled with all sorts of evidences. This acts as a door to the small garage area. And we have brick right here. Why do we have brick? Was I meant to have brick here? I don't know. And detective offices. Well, we have one detective's office. The other two are up top side. This is just a janitor's closet of sorts. Well, I see more bricks, so I guess that was intentional. We also have a workout area with comically small weight benches. I mean, look at these things. They're tiny. And we have this office right here for a detective. It's nice up off the ground, away from prying eyes. So it probably makes private discussions a lot better. Also, there's a bathroom. It's kind of cramped, but it works. We have the chief's office, which looks out down towards that road and gets a nice view of other things. And last but not least, we also have roof access through a door in there. We also have a small landing pad for helicopters. Again, I have to try and pack things in here because I don't like having to tear down all these trees purely because it's just kind of a pain. And a diorama never has to be completely accurate, as far as I'm concerned. See if we head down through here, go through here, we can head down this road on the lighted up path. Now, I only want to do like 1 or 2 episodes like I mentioned previously because of the burnout, but also because these videos take quite a bit of time to process. They have to be edited together and then also rendered out, uploaded. It takes a lot of time. Because just right now, if I'm looking at the timer on OBS, I'm just barely approaching 28 minutes. And I know with AMD's video encoding, that's going to be a very large file. So it's going to take quite a bit of time to get these out. Also, Christian's Cove Fire Department, a work-in-progress fire department, but a fire department nonetheless. See some Z fighting going on. We have an area for the engine, singular engine, because this town isn't exactly wealthy, but I digress. And just an area for the firemen and women to hang out. I really love those volumetric lighting rays. They're so cool. Yeah, it's fairly empty, but it has at least a skeleton built up. And if we go over here, we have a church, which can be accessed via that sidewalk that attaches to the road over there, with 2 more bridges. Oh, there's so many bridges. You can also just barely see that mountainous region over there with normal render distance. But yeah, we have Calvary Hill Baptist. And with the volumetric lighting coming through that cross, it is so cool. Yeah, it's just a small church. We have a basement for storage. You know, extra chairs and whatnots. Go through here. We also have a nice coat hanger on both sides, a space heater of sorts, and a small bathroom. Honestly, some bathrooms I've seen in the past are smaller than that. But yeah, that's the church area. It's a nice little church on a hill. Don't really need to bother with this because it's just a sidewalk with bridges. I mean, you guys have probably seen more bridges in this one video than you have in any other kind of sandbox game. So we'll just move on to another part that actually has some story behind it. So the story for this place, the emergency bunker, out in the distance that way, in a barren tundra outside of town limits, is effectively a research agency that investigates floating objects. And there have been some around here. I know there's some out in that direction that I can tell you about. But they investigate them and send rockets out into space to try and figure out what's up with the floating objects. And their rockets aren't exactly the most well-built things in the world, so there have been some minor incidents where the rockets have come dangerously close to crashing into this area. So the agency kind of had to pay out some money to build an emergency bunker for the people who lived in the town so they could evacuate, just in case one of those rockets didn't quite make it. So we have a very nice deep bunker made of concrete and steel. It is still currently being worked on, but it should be relatively safe. And it's being built into a very well-established cave. Head down here. We can see yet another dead end, but we also have exactly one living quarters built up at the moment. It's not much, but it's better than getting your house destroyed by a rocket, I suppose. Well, if your house gets destroyed by the rocket, you'd be down here anyways. Either way, it's a bunker. Nothing more to really say about that. Okay, so that's basically the main town area as it is right now, finished. If we head down this way, you can see this gigantic bridge. I think this was the second bridge ever built. Yeah, it's a big upgrade from that one small bridge that was in the park, as far as the diorama goes. In the actual, I don't know what you'd call it, but the non-diorama world, this is the Lupiine Bridge, I'll call it that. And also this is Bridge Beach, and why did it get dark? That was weird. Yeah, this is the Lupiine Bridge. And the story behind that is basically one of the mayors of old of this town built a bridge to try and bring more people into the town for visiting. Thank you, Dolphin, for the point. Anyways, this bridge was built in cooperation with a lot of different things way back when, and it still exists today as a very large, grandiose bridge. Also, we have Lighthouse Island over there. We can visit that after we finish the areas that are attached to the road. Dolphin, you better get back in the water. You don't want to come up on the land, you'll suffocate. Anyways, we'll just take a quick look around Bridge Beach. We have restrooms again. And fun thing about these tiles, you can just pass right through them. They have no collision. But we don't really need to take a look at restrooms. Okay, you see how this says Tom's Bicycle Shop? Completely different Tom from over there. This is just a random Tom. So we have paint guns for painting your bicycles, not for the actual paint gun matches. And some bicycle parts, in case you want to rent out a bicycle. And if we go over here and walk up these stairs, we also can see it's really dark. Wow. Millie's travel agency, just whoever Millie is, they have a travel agency. I don't travel much, so I wouldn't know who she is. But yeah, a nice little travel agency. And hopefully if we get up on this bridge, we won't have to hear that dolphin yelling his head off. Just one last thing to note is that you can see the sign right here says now entering Christian's Cove of Foxtrot County. Yep, this is technically a small county of a state has yet to receive a name. They probably need to get back onto that. Also, yeah, Lupiine Bridge. Say it with a slight French accent, it kind of works. Yeah, it's a very, very high bridge. And it is a very nice looking bridge, though, to be fair. These lampposts took forever to put in before I discovered a tool called a pick tool. It's a mod for this game where you can just select an area of blocks and basically copy paste. It's a big lifesaver for everything else but this area, because I didn't do this area with that because I didn't have that mod at the time. Now these are technically hollow, so you can go up inside of them. They have structure on the inside. Not complete structure, mind you, but they have structure. And a ladder that goes all the way down. So that way you have plenty of space to just look at different things. Or do whatever you want with it, really. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually below sea level right here, so there's that. Rumor has it that there is a superhero of sorts that has a hideout in one of these towers. I don't know why I wanted to call them tunnels. They're towers. Supposedly, there's a secret base inside of one of these towers where a hero resides. Yeah, you can definitely get a good feel for the height. And also see the weird visual glitches. I don't know why there's a grid pattern in the ocean, but there is. Bring that in. You can see a lot of stuff from up here. You could pretty much almost see the other house that we started out at if this hill wasn't in the way. Anyways, let's head back down. If I'm not mistaken, this should be the first floor that we enter in on. No, it's the other floor. There we go. And yeah, it's just one floor in here. Big empty void. Another sign that says Lupiine Bridge. And as we make our descent, you can see there's a desert region ahead. This town that we're going to be entering in soon is called Desertia, because it's a desert. Now entering city of Desertia of Foxtrot County. Still within the same county, just a different town. And you can see there's just a stray bed because it's kind of hard to see at night. We have a little parking area here and a rest area for anyone traveling, be it by bike or by foot or by car. It's got some storage from people who work on the roads and the like, but you also have a nice coffee machine, some bathrooms, some benches to rest on, and a piano for whoever wants to play the piano, and some free books to read. All under a ramp. Gotta make efficient use of space. Efficient use of space. And I may have to use that bed again soon because it's getting dark. But I think by the time night hits, we can probably find another bed. 39 minutes. Ooh, this is going to be a long one. But we're almost done. As you can see, we have another nice bridge right here as well. I think the word of the day is nice. I really need to find some better descriptors. But it's built upon some big brick pillars, so that way the bridge is well supported and is very unlikely to collapse. The cow agrees. Yeah, you can see the change in styling, though. We have more sandstone, some more acacia, leaning more into the savanna and desert objects. Okay, night is here. I know there is a bed over there, so we'll go there real quick, and then we can make our way over to that building and this building. Also, this is the second most recent bridge. This bridge has some problems, though it isn't finished. They should probably close that road off, but they haven't yet. Desertia doesn't have that many residents, so kind of checks out, I suppose. I guess to start with, this is the sheriff's office for Desertia anyways. It's more of a western town, so I guess they don't want to have police chiefs. It's a very small building, just one area for the sheriff's office, and this small area for a I want to call it a greeter, but I know that's not it. Oh, a receptionist. I think that's what it's called. And you can see this is floating. Just imagine there's going to be stone pillars like the bridge over there, and you won't even notice. Anyways, if we head down here, this is where you have some jail cells, prison guard, as well as detective's office and evidence room, all crammed into a very small area. But if I'm going to be honest, since this isn't a desert, it's probably better off to be down here than up there, because it'd probably be cooler underground. Okay, I'm going to enable fast mode real quick, just so I can make my way down towards the end of the bridge to show you guys what I mean by this being a very dangerous bridge currently. If we just run down here real quick, you can see that A, we have a floating object, and B, this bridge is very incomplete. So it's a bit of a dangerous thing. I guess they ran out of funding, but somehow they were able to afford just a floating bridge. Yeah, we have floating objects, so this floating bridge isn't actually too out of place, all things considered. Yeah, that's what the agency is trying to research. They don't know why these things float, but they do. So let's just take a quick run down here. Let's see another floating object. We have some more incomplete road. Very wily coyote. And we also have Voxel's Diner. They have air conditioning. I think in a region like this, that's a selling point. So let's get inside out of the heat and into the nice cool air. Now, Voxel is the third fox on the channel. Technically, I think he's 14 or 15 years old, so this restaurant's named after him by his parents. There's a whole bunch of backstory to that I could get into, but this video is getting kind of long as it is, so let's keep moving. Got a very well-equipped kitchen, and this is quite the popular restaurant, too. I know those two sentences did not go well together, but I'm trying my best. Yeah, this is a very popular restaurant in this area and anyone who travels by. In the regular world of the stories, this is all complete. Technically, all these roads go somewhere. In terms of this diorama, not so much. Again, build time. Also, if we go back here, we have a dumpster and an air conditioner. So let's head down the roads at very quick speeds. Now that we're out in the desert, there isn't as much to see out here, so we can get away with that. We have a incomplete wall. This is a nature preserve. So that way the weirdly mysterious jungle that somehow exists on the edge of a desert can be preserved for future generations. It's very wild and untamed. So we're not going to go too terribly deep in there, but it is completely walled off to keep it safe. If we head over this way, there's an incomplete house in terms of the diorama world, but in the real world, it's complete. It's a very interesting layout for a house, but it works. We go up here on these glass stairs, we can see that this other floor has not even been finished. It's just been hauled up. And even in the desert, the dolphins are still trying to hurt my ears. Okay, so we've seen all the Desertia has to offer at this current point in time, in terms of the diorama world, and you can just see it's nothing but endless wasteland of desert. You can just head down this way at quick speeds. Thankfully, in Minetest I can't break my legs because it's creative mode. So we're just going to take the water this way and just go full on speedboat mode. You can just jump really high when you're sprinting in water for some reason. And more floating objects. Very prominent in this area. It's probably why they started research base here. We have Lighthouse Island. More or less the last stop outside of that. It's a very small lighthouse meant for passing ships. As it is, this is a cove, so it really kind of ends after the bridge. There's rumors that the town and county are working together to create a canal down there in order to connect to the rest of the ocean. But nothing's come of that yet. So in here we have some small but comfortable looking living quarters. Got a shower right next to your bed so you don't have too far to go. And we have all the communication equipment. We also have a television. Literally, this is the only show that ever shows up. It's probably still more entertaining than modern television is anyways. We also have the giant light. So yeah, it's basically the Lighthouse Island. You can also tune your frequencies and stuff. I would probably not want to live on this because, quite frankly, it seems kind of cramped. But at the same time, the solitude does seem kind of nice. For this, we're going to have to take advantage of creative mode's flying, just to be able to get onto the ship. But this ship belongs to the Arctic Research Group that explores the Arctic regions and also is trying to find ways to get them inhabitable. Oh, actually, that does remind me. There is another area, like, way far away from here. So this may actually hit an hour. You can see we have some communication equipment. Imagine there's... Just use your imagination and just try to pretend there's a, steering mechanisms and all the other little bits and pieces that a ship has. In here, we have the captain's quarters. Very small area with some old-fashioned looking binoculars. And a picture of the captain and his family, apparently. And if we go down here below decks, we have a shower room, which used to have a working shower. At some point it stopped, and we also have a lot of ductwork. So the living quarters for the crew, it's very basic, but I suppose if they're okay with it, that's fine. Also, we have a galley, which probably has the same exact... Yep. The TV broadcasters in this area really need to find some better shows to put on. Or at least some different shows. I mean, that's still better than modern TV, like I said, but... yeah, it kind of gets a little old. Other than that, it's a fairly well-equipped kitchen. A well-fed crew is a happy crew, I suppose. And the head, aka the bathroom. And there's two heads. And it's at the head of the ship too, so that makes sense. We have some nice cargo down here. Left over from a previous expedition, I imagine. This, at least within the story world, actually comes off. You know, it's removable, so that we can load cargo down into the ship. That's the galley. This is the way up. Outside of that, that's all there is over here. So now we're just going to have to abuse the fact that we can fly in creative mode and go way, way far out in distance. Like, I'm talking about, like, very, very far out into the distance. There's the end of the rail line, as you can see. Just over there with a floating apple. But that's not important right now. We have to go out into the tundra. And avoid this fly, and avoid that tree. And from the tundra into the permafrost zone, where we can see a very small building. This is the Flying Object Research Agency. Where we have stuff that's not rendering it again. A lot of high-tech technical computer stuff, as well as a launch pad that will eventually be built within a diorama world, but exists within the story world. I don't know why they think yellow glass is safe, but if it works for them, I guess that's fine. We have a break room over there, and once again, these panels just don't mean anything, apparently. We have an underground area for probably different research areas. And that's about it for this small building. You can see out here. And I think we have one last thing to show off. And that's going to take a minute, so I will just have Pixel cut this segment out, and we will get back to you when we reach the other area to show. And here we are, and yeah, we're in an Arctic region. A very strange Arctic region, though. It's in the middle of a tropical type of ocean. Yet we have this very frigid area. Frigid enough for me to actually need a coat. Or a jacket, whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, we have this nice little... That is really the word of the day. I can't stop saying nice. I'm not going to fight it. It's just whatever at this point. A little place that the Arctic research people can eat. Have a very, very small bathroom. I mean, this is absolutely tiny, but it works. As well as some skylights. A stove, which is just right next to the walkway. Better be careful that you don't burn yourself. And we also have a submarine thing right here. Submarines can surface in this area and can load and unload research samples and stuff like that. And over here, again, we just got to wade through the ice cold water. We have a little dock for a boat. I think I just broke something. And this little ice floe that a tent was built on top of. Weirdly enough, you can put carpet on top of ice and it doesn't act slippery. I think for a game like this it wouldn't do that. Also, floating objects again. The Arctic Research Group and the Floating Objects Group are at odds with each other most of the time, so they don't ever really overlap each other's territories. There's also another group that is in direct opposition to the Arctic Research Group. The Underwater... Oh, I forget their name. Basically, it's a research group that's trying to figure out how to make the underwater terrain in the lake inhabitable. Trying to find ways to make money off of underwater real estate, I suppose. They're frequently at odds with these guys who prefer to keep the ocean free and clear of any kind of developments like that. But yeah, that's effectively the world tour. Let me guys know what you think, and if you have any ideas for any extra buildings or the like, I would like to hear from you guys. So that's it for now. Almost an hour-long video. And I managed to talk all the way through it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And hopefully this series will be a thing. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, Christ is King and Jesus loves you. Bye.